This election is about leadership, and Sinn Fein delivers that. We delivered on peace, on power-sharing institutions, and on the transfer of policing and justice powers. And we're the party which is fighting for equality, for peace and for jobs, and building for Irish unity. Sinn Fein has brought equality to the heart of government, from tackling fuel poverty to scrapping the 11+, from keeping water in public hands to delivering for rural communities. The Executive has brought about an end to prescription charges and the freezing of the regional rate, and much good work has been done. Sinn Fein has also made jobs retention and jobs creation central to the Executive's work. We have used public procurement contracts to ensure the hiring of long-term unemployed and apprentices. And the construction, for example, of the new A5 and A8 motorways is evidence of the merits of all Ireland infrastructural development. Investments from the New York Stock Exchange, HSBO, Citibank and Allstate are also bringing well-paid jobs here. But last week, David Cameron laid bare the real agenda behind Tory policy in the North. Cuts in public services and in our standard of living. And the British Labour Party has a similar agenda. Sinn Fein is committed to maintaining frontline services and protecting jobs. Slashing public services, allowing unemployment to soar, and increasing poverty is not an option for us. This is one of the most important things I want to say today. The Unionists and the SDLP and the smaller parties need to unite with us against the cuts. Mark McGuinness and Peter Robinson, working together, secured an additional £800 million for policing and justice. That's an example of what can be achieved. And the next British government, whatever its make-up, should be faced with a united opposition by all of the local parties. What is required is a major negotiation with London on funding. And in the immediate term, this is about an increase, not a cut, but an increase in the block grant. We also need to transfer fiscal powers back to Ireland, and we need to build an all-Ireland economy. So in this manifesto, Sinn Fein is committed to the transfer of fiscal powers from London to the Assembly, to a jobs task force established by the Executive to coordinate work across the departments, for example, DETE and DEL. We're committed to the harmonisation of corporation tax at 12.5% across the island, and we're the first party to put that on the agenda some time ago. We're committed to increased support for small and medium-sized enterprises, particularly from the banks, who still don't lend to smaller businesses. We're about a greater emphasis on the green economy to provide new jobs in that sector in the future. We're about investment to ensure high-level broadband coverage right across this part of the island, especially in rural areas. We're about the reform of Invest NI to ensure targeted work in areas of high deprivation. We're about investment in technology, infrastructure, education and training, and about building a single island economy. The cost of doing business here is prohibitive. Fuel costs, electricity and currency fluctuations are damaging the local economy. So was the cost of partition. Hundreds of millions in revenue are lost every year through the duplication of services and the absence of joined-up infrastructure and differentials in currency and VAT rates. The key to making progress, to making positive change irreversible, is political leadership. To foreign egg Sinn Fein nach bhfuil a leithead again partiella. Tá ceannacht ag Sinn Fein, tá na smuointe ceart agin, na policy cearta agus na strateis politúil ceart agin don taiki. This party wants to bring the vision, the focus and the determination which created and which sustains the peace process. We want to bring all of that to deal with the economy. In this election, the electorate has the opportunity to endorse the Sinn Fein strategy for positive change, for peace, for equality and for jobs. The electorate has the ability and opportunity to join with us to build a better future for all our people, but especially our young people, and also to advance the goal of Irish reunification. So Bagor Dív and Manifesto Alev and Progra Alev agus Begi Lynn and Turis Shaw. The Sinn Fein ag Yanav and Differ Be Lynn. We will not bring in water charges. That's our firm position. The question may need to be put to those other parties. Incidentally, don't you know where the water charges came from? David Trimble and Mark Durkin went off to negotiate with the British Treasury some years ago and got a loan, and the payment to that was to be made in water charges. Martin McGuinness and Peter Robinson went off to negotiate and came back with 800 million with no ties attached to it. So our position is against the privatisation of our water and against water charges. We don't mind. We don't mind at all. What we want here is a Sinn Féin government. What happens in the other islands is a matter for the people there. I think there's quite a significant shift. There's a wee just beginning of a state of flux in our politics. Just the beginning of that, where people see that the important place is in the local assembly, is in the political institutions, is in the All-Ireland structure, because they have some say over that. And people are affronted, particularly people who are living alone or who are surviving on pensions. They're affronted by the scams on expenses and by the lifestyles of some of these MPs. So there isn't the connectiveness that one might imagine with Westminster and with the electorate here. And I think you're going to see that in this election. Whoever is in power there, they don't govern in our interest. I mean, that's a fact, and I defy anyone to contradict that. And you know, parties who are more concerned, quite understandably, about what's happening in South England or in North England don't give a tuppence for what's happening here.
Well, we're here today in the Grand Opera House doing the launch of our manifesto. I'm really glad that it's out because there's a lot of fantastic stuff in it. It's a paperless manifesto for the first time. Following on from my paperless executive meetings, we've gone environmentally friendly, and I think it's very important, first of all, that we are looking at those environmental issues, but it's also in a format that's better for people, for example, visually impaired, etc. So we've covered a vast range of issues and areas in the launch here today, from agriculture and education through to regional development, the economy, Irish unity, the international element. So there's a lot of stuff in the manifesto. It's worth a look at, and I'd urge everybody to get on the link to look at the manifesto and see what Sinn Féin's got to offer.
Okay, Michelle, you have roughly a week left canvassing. How's it going for Manifesto Tyrone?
It's going great. It's going great. I love canvassing anyway. It's brilliant to get out and just go around the doorsteps and talk to people. The response has been fantastic, and no matter how tired you get, no matter how long you've done, half an hour on the doorsteps is like a battery charge because it just puts you in good form. The response has been brilliant. Obviously there are a lot of big issues that are concerning people in the constituency, the issue of jobs, access to services, etc. And then obviously then too the SDLP questions coming up a lot on the doorsteps as well. And people are very angry about that. They're very angry that the SDLP are prepared to sacrifice this historic seat for the sake of an assembly job for Fergal McKinney.
You mentioned a number of weeks ago that anger was palpable on the doors. Is it growing, the momentum growing? It
really is, and especially given our unilateral approach in South Belfast to try and protect a national seat there, and the SDLP's very churlish response to that didn't go down well either on the doorsteps. And I think I'm certainly hearing from people who've been speaking to SDLP canvassers and have really given them a piece of their mind about the way they've treated Republicans in South Belfast. And I think that kind of arrogance and you know, just not appreciating the magnanimous gesture that we made and throwing it back at us is not going to go down well. And you know, I think ultimately we don't intend even contemplating losing this election, but if we do, I think the SDLP will be the people who are going to be licking their wounds for a long time to come.